Hi, it's Maija here, and I thought I'd do another book haul revisited video, and in this video I will be revisiting my London book haul from 2016. So the first book from that haul was The Natural History of Dragons, a memoir by Lady Trent by Mary Brennan. The cover of this is so light that it's pretty hard to see on this video, but this is a fantasy book. It's set in the fantasy world reminiscent of Victorian England, and it tells about Lady Trent, who is a dragon naturalist, so she studies dragons in this world. It's about her adventures, and this particular first book is about her first expedition. And I have read this one, I really liked it, and I do own the second and third books in this 5-book series, but I haven't read those ones yet. The second thing that I picked up from London was Courtney Crumrin Volume 7, Tales of a Warlock by Ted Nafee, and this is sort of the final volume, the Courtney Crumrin series, but it's pretty much a standalone. So this is about the character Lucius Crumrin as a young man who is, of course, Courtney's uncle in the main series, and he's quite old then. I had already read these stories before because I owned them in another edition, so I have read this one, and these stories are, it's like 2 stories, and they're a bit more pulpy than the main middle grade Courtney Crumrin series, but I do find them okay. They're fun, but they're not as good as the main series. Then I have The Nameless City by Faith Erin Hicks, and I think I picked this one up from Gush Comics, and this is a secondary world fantasy thing, so it doesn't have magic or anything, but it's set in a fantasy world, and the main character is this boy who is part of the invading force into this nameless city, and he befriends this girl who is a street kid who was born in the city. And this one was fun. I do enjoy Faith Erin Hicks's art, but I have since read the whole series actually, and I'm not the biggest fan of them. They are like fine one-time reads, and I am going to unhaul this at some point because I don't feel like reading it again. Then I have Baba Yaga's Assistant by Marika McCoola, illustrated by Emily Carroll, and you might know that I love Emily Carroll, and that is the reason why I picked this one up. I think also from Gush Comics, and I have read this one. I really liked it. I really want to reread it. The art and the colors are a bit brighter than Emily Carroll's horror work, but I do love Baba Yaga, and I really like this one. Even more comics, I picked up Young Avengers Volume 2, Alternative Culture, and number 3, Mic Drop at the Edge of Time and Space by Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey, and I have also read these. This is a superhero comic. It has a new group of the Young Avengers, and it's my favorite Young Avengers run. So that was everything that I picked up in London, but I also did have other things in that haul. First 2 things were things that I was looking for in London, but I couldn't find them at the bookshops there, so when I got home I ordered them online. The first of those was The Geek Feminist Revolution by Cameron Hurley, and this is a collection of her essays, her non-fiction, her blog posts, everything like that. I really enjoyed this one. It's a great non-fiction book about things geek, things feminist, and things revolutionary. I do really enjoy the cover as well, it's so bright. Then the second book that I ordered after going to London was Mary Robinette Kowal's Word Puppets. If you watched all my unread books video, where I showed you all the physical books that I own that are unread, you already know that I haven't read this one. I still haven't read this one. I bought it in 2016, and since then I have shown it in a lot of like TBR videos or books that I need to read before the end of the year videos, and I still haven't. It's a collection of Mary Robinette Kowal's short fiction, and I need to read this one before I can pick up the Lady Astronaut books from the library. Then in that haul were 3 things that I picked up from charity shops. One of them was my childhood favorite, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, in this great, awesome old Finnish edition. I actually can't read this book in English because I am so used to reading it in Finnish and listening to the radio play in Finnish that it feels wrong when I listen it in English. I think I know how things are supposed to go, and then they are not said the same way. But yeah, I already read that one. I read that one when I was a kid. Second thing from the used bookstore was The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. You might know I've read about 50 pages of this. I'm considering DNFing it. I haven't picked it up in a while. I think I might have started reading it in September or something. This is a science fiction book about people going to war in space. I don't know. Should I finish this? And then one other thing that I picked up from that used bookstore that I have already unhauled, and that is Star Trek Spock Must Die by James Blish. I did read this one. It wasn't very good. It's actually the first Star Trek novel that wasn't the novelization of an episode, and it's about Spock going into the transport chamber, something goes wrong, and 2 Spocks come out, and one of them must die. One of them is evil. But it did have some like very weird things in it, some outdated attitudes and I just wasn't a big fan of this one. It was a fun curiosity, sort of fun, at times fun curiosity to read. I think I put it into one of those leave one, take one free bookshelves that are in our libraries. And then there were 2 single issue comics that I found from those very same library shelves where people could leave things and take things. And one of them was 1 issue of an Adventure Time comic. I think it was called Candy Capers, and it had these little stories that would continue in later issues, and it was fun, but I read it and I put it back there on the shelf. And then the other of them was Lumberjanes Beyond Bayleaf, and this is a one-shot Lumberjanes story written by Faith Erin Hicks, illustrated and lettered by Rosemary Valero O'Connell. And I have read this once when I picked it up. I remember I liked it, but I can't remember anything about the plot. So that was my book haul revisit number 5, and out of those 13 things that I mentioned, I have read 11 and not read these 2. So let me know if I should finish Forever War and try to get me to read Word Puppets, because this has the short story, the Lady Astronaut short story that I want to read before reading the novels. So these are all the books that I just mentioned. Let me know if you still like watching these videos or if these are unnecessary, because I posted that all the unread books that I own video, so you know what books I have left unread. But do you still like watching these? Let me know, and that's all for me for now. I will see you in my next video.